The moment the cameras stopped rolling was the moment the power shifted. And nobody at 90 Day Fiancé saw it coming. One cast member did something almost unheard of in this universe. They pushed back, not with tears, not with a meltdown, with a flat refusal that sent producers scrambling and turned a private standoff into a public earthquake. This was the second everything changed, and the fallout still ripples across contracts, relationships, and reputations. So here is the question nobody wanted asked. What happens when a reality star stops playing along and calls the bluff? Money sits at the center of this mess. Real money, filming fees, penalties buried inside contracts most viewers never read. Walk away, and the bills stack fast. Stay and the pressure tightens. Public image sits on the line too. One wrong move and fans flip. Sponsors disappear. Relationships strain under the weight of scenes pushed afar. In this case, the refusal did not land softly. It landed loud. Phones rang. Meetings multiplied. Whispers turned into leaks. A system built on control suddenly faced resistance. This did not come from nowhere. Tension had been building for weeks. Story beats felt forced. Emotions got nudged. Lines blurred between real conflict and produced chaos. Then the unexpected happened. The cast member chose silence over spectacle. Production lost leverage in real time. Once that door closed, there was no easy reset. Contracts do not like defiance. Networks do not like surprises. And the audience never forgets a moment like this. Stay close. Because what happened next behind closed doors reshaped how far production tried to push. And the move they pulled shocked even longtime crew members. This opening moment matters because it exposes the core truth. Reality TV runs on consent dressed up as opportunity. When consent gets withdrawn, the whole machine rattles. And the ripple from this single refusal set the tone for everything that followed. For anyone catching up late, the road here did not start with chaos. It started with a promise. This cast member came in selling hope, loyalty, and a straight face about love, surviving distance, culture, shocks, and deadlines. Viewers bought in. Early scenes felt grounded. Awkward dinners, family side eyes. Those quiet moments where you think, okay, these two might survive the circus of 90 Day Fiancé. The edit leaned warm. The bond felt steady. And the audience learned who this person was supposed to be. Then the cracks showed. Not all at once. Little slips. A reaction that felt delayed. A smile that did not reach the eyes. A disagreement that stretched longer than expected. Fans noticed. Comment sections noticed. The tone shifted without warning. Scenes started feeling louder. Conflicts lingered longer. Moments that should have passed quietly stayed front and center. And the cast member who once looked comfortable began to look measured. This is where the disconnect grew. Viewers thought they knew what this person stood for. Calm, commitment, privacy when needed. But pressure does strange things. Repetition wears patience down. And when cameras hover during sensitive conversations, behavior changes. You know the feeling. Someone asks the same thing again and again until the answer turns sharp. That shift did not happen overnight, and that is why it mattered. There were still jokes. A laugh here, a playful eye roll there. Enough to keep fans relaxed. Enough to make it feel safe. But underneath, something else brewed. The relationship arc everyone thought they understood started bending in ways the edit did not explain. And right when it felt like the couple would smooth things over, the energy shifted again. Hold on to this. Because the gap between what aired and what happened off camera grew wider. And proof soon challenged perception in ways production did not expect. The calm before this storm was not real calm. It was pressure waiting for a spark. Pressure does not announce itself with shouting. Pressure creeps in through calendars, tone, and timing. Longtime viewers of 90 Day Fiancé have seen this pattern play out across seasons. A couple enters with one problem. Then a second scene stretches that problem. Then a third scene circles back again. The conflict grows louder without adding new facts. Behavior shifts before anyone names the cause. Production pressure often shows up through scheduling first. Filming days stack close together. Emotional conversations land late at night. Rest shrinks. Patience thins. Next comes the nudge. A producer asks for clarity. Then asks again. Then asks from a different angle. The answer stays the same. The delivery changes. Voices rise. Frustration leaks through body language. Viewers read authenticity while forgetting the environment shaping every response. This pressure does not target villains or heroes. Pressure targets reactions. A calm person under repetition starts snapping. A private partner starts performing. The camera rewards escalation. Silence earns less screen time. Over time, the relationship stops breathing naturally. Every disagreement carries weight beyond the couple. Family members feel pulled in. Advice turns sharper. Loyalty gets tested. One partner starts protecting peace. The other starts protecting pride. Here is where internal conflict takes root. Stay cooperative and risk losing self-respect. Push back and risk financial blowback. Both choices cost something. Watch closely and the shift becomes clear. One partner pauses longer before speaking. Another fills silence, faster. Defensiveness replaces humor. Care turns transactional. Viewers sense tension without seeing the source. Whose side feels fair once pressure enters the room? This marks the line crossed, because emotional safety gave way to emotional extraction. And the response afterward stunned people behind the scenes. Behavior tells the story better than confessionals ever could. Raised shoulders, forced laughs, short answers where warmth once lived. The relationship did not break from one argument. The break came from accumulation. Each small push added weight. Each repeated moment chipped trust. And once pressure outweighed partnership, the outcome stopped feeling negotiable. The next phase did not explode right away. Silence did the damage first. The breaking point did not look dramatic at first. No screaming. No tears splashed across the screen. It arrived quietly during a moment viewers recognized instantly. A serious conversation aired. Tension sat heavy. The cast member listened, paused, and chose not to give production the reaction they clearly wanted. The scene ended without fireworks, and that silence said more than any argument ever could. What aired showed restraint. What followed became public through timing and absence. Filming slowed. Scenes felt patched together. Confessionals stopped lining up cleanly. Then came the confirmation through public statements and scheduling gaps. Participation changed. Cooperation thinned. The refusal became visible through what was missing, not what was said. That absence hit harder than a blow-up because absence breaks structure. Psychologically, this moment mattered because it reclaimed control. Under pressure, people either comply, collapse, or create distance. This choice landed on distance. Not to punish a partner, not to stir chaos, to protect internal stability. Boundaries often get mislabeled as drama when they interrupt expectations. This one interrupted a system built on predictable reactions. Fans read the shift right away. Body language before the moment looked guarded. Afterward, posture straightened, speech shortened, engagement narrowed to essentials. That pattern signals a boundary being enforced, not a tantrum. And boundaries unsettle environments dependent on access. When access closes, pressure escalates behind the scenes. This was the point where money entered the room. Because contracts do not respond kindly to refusal. And the financial consequences soon became impossible to ignore. Once the line got drawn, nothing reset. The relationship dynamic froze in place. Production lost flexibility. The network faced a choice. Push harder and risk exposure. Step back and lose control. Viewers felt the tension even without explicit explanation. Silence became loud. So the real question moved off screen. After a cast member draws a firm line and holds it, what does a network built on leverage do next? Once the line got drawn, the story stopped being about feelings and started being about paper. Reality TV contracts sound simple on the surface. Show up, film your life, get paid. The part viewers do not see sits in the fine print. Availability clauses, participation requirements, penalties tied to missed days. Cast members sign up knowing filming shapes, schedules, and privacy. What many do not expect is how much emotional access becomes part of the deal. From the network side, there is a real argument. Crews get booked months ahead. Locations cost money. Story arcs get mapped early. When one person pulls back, dozens of jobs feel the ripple. Deadlines do not move easily. Episodes still need delivery. Advertising slots stay sold. From that angle, pressure looks like logistics, not cruelty. That is the clean version. The imbalance shows up in leverage. Networks hold contracts, lawyers, and edit control. Cast members hold their faces and their stories. When cooperation drops, Financial language enters fast. Fees stall. Penalties surface. Reputation whispers start. A refusal stops looking personal and starts looking expensive. Here is the reversal many fans miss. Contracts protect production, not people. Emotional strain rarely appears as a breach. Exhaustion does not void obligations. Silence does not count as compliance. The system rewards availability more than well-being. That gap creates tension no relationship advice fixes. A cast member faces a choice between mental stability and financial exposure. The network faces a choice between accommodation and authority. Neither side walks away clean. The human cost lands unevenly. One party absorbs public judgment. The other absorbs criticism later, often quietly. Power sits with the side that waits longer. That is why refusal rattles the structure. It introduces unpredictability. Where control once lived, what followed surprised even insiders. Because backlash did not come from where anyone expected. And the pressure shifted directions overnight. Once money takes center stage, empathy shrinks. Viewers start choosing sides. Networks start protecting precedent. And the original relationship drama fades into something larger. A test of limits. A signal to future cast members. And a reminder that entertainment runs on access. Until access gets withdrawn, family pressure rarely shows up on camera the way arguments do. It settles into pauses, half sentences, and choices made late at night. When production tension rises, partners and relatives feel it first. They become buffers without asking for the role. One person wants peace. Another wants stability. Both want loyalty, and those wants collide fast. A partner under contract worries about income. Bills do not wait for moral clarity. A family member worries about betrayal. Support feels like silence to one side and abandonment to the other. Stress changes behavior. People talk less. They scan rooms before answering. Humor fades. Even affection turns cautious. The fear sits unspoken, but loud. Lose the show and life shifts overnight. Stay in the show and trust fractures. This is where loyalty gets tested hardest. Not in public scenes but in private alignment. Who stands where when the cameras are off? Who returns calls? Who avoids them? Support stops feeling simple. A partner tries to mediate and ends up absorbing blame from both sides. A sibling wants unity and gets distance instead. Nobody wins these moments. They just endure them. Viewers often read this as coldness or indifference. The truth looks quieter. Stress narrows focus. Survival thinking takes over. People protect what they can control. That often means pulling inward. When production tension bleeds into family space, relationships stop being safe havens. They turn into negotiation zones. Love stays present, but it moves carefully. What hurts most is the waiting. Waiting for decisions. Waiting for calls. Waiting to see which way the pressure breaks. Silence becomes heavy. Every delay feels loaded. Every message feels measured. And the fear underneath stays the same. One wrong move and everything changes. Then the tension spilled online, because private strain met public reaction, and social media amplified cracks nobody wanted exposed. This stage does not explode. It simmers. And simmering tension leaves marks long after cameras move on. Once the story hit social feeds, fans did not stay quiet. Twitter lit up with threads dissecting the choices, Instagram reels replayed key moments, and Reddit discussions swelled with analysis. People tagged friends. They debated fairness. Some applauded, standing up under pressure. Others weighed financial obligations. The chatter moved fast because everyone recognized the behavior they had been in moments where saying no felt impossible, yet necessary. Fans became part of the narrative. Their voices amplified stakes. Production decisions no longer existed in isolation. Networks saw engagement metrics spike. Every comment, share, and reaction added visibility. Social pressure became a new layer of tension. Decisions about filming, editing, and casting suddenly included the court of public opinion. Whether producers liked it or not, audiences sided with authenticity over spectacle. When behavior felt real hesitation, resistance, boundary setting, it resonated. They sympathized with the struggle between personal well-being and external demands. The story's emotional spikes reflected moments viewers themselves had navigated, lending empathy and urgency to commentary. Online, empathy became a currency, shaping perception and influence. This feedback loop shifted more than attention, it reframed narrative control. The cast members' choices were no longer private challenges. Fans made those decisions part of a larger discussion about fairness, manipulation, and emotional cost. Every reaction hinted at what could come next behind the scenes, and then a narrative flip started to emerge. Because fan support began to influence decisions in ways the network had not anticipated, changing the story's trajectory before filming resumed. Suddenly, the audience was not just watching, they were subtly steering the storm. Every post, comment, and share nudged production toward outcomes that had seemed impossible only days before. Social media became another character in the story, one with a loud, persistent voice. Not everyone saw the refusal as heroic. Some fans argued that walking away was reckless. Contracts exist for a reason. Deadlines, schedules, and production budgets do not pause for personal boundaries. From this perspective, the choice to step back looked like disruption, not empowerment. The consequences were real: financial penalties, reputation risks, lost opportunities. These are facts, not opinions, and they matter. At the same time, the situation is messier than black and white takes allow. Walking away does not mean abandoning responsibility. It means weighing competing pressures: mental health, loyalty, career, and public perception against each other. Every decision carries a cost, and sometimes those costs ripple outward to family, partners, or co-stars who have no choice in the matter. The stakes extend beyond a single contract or a single season. Behaviorally, defiance triggers a chain reaction. Networks respond strategically. Schedules get rewritten. Editing decisions change. The cast member becomes a variable instead of a predictable piece of production. That unpredictability can provoke backlash, but it can also open space for negotiation and new leverage. The tension is in the trade-offs, not the drama. Acknowledging this complexity does not diminish the courage involved. It simply frames it alongside practical realities. Boundaries and consequences coexist. Actions meant to protect mental health do not erase the costs that follow. Fans who cheer may see strength. Those who criticize may see risk. Both reactions reflect legitimate interpretations of a complicated situation, and long-term consequences are already quietly unfolding, with implications for future contracts, casting decisions, and even how reality stars negotiate mental health protections down the line. This moment reframes the story from instant spectacle to enduring precedent. Every choice reverberates, and the ripple effects extend far beyond a single episode or headline. Moments like this do more than dominate headlines, they quietly reshape the game. Producers start paying attention to what happens when a cast member asserts boundaries. They track reactions, engagement, and most importantly, how networks adapt. Every decision, every edit, every push for drama suddenly carries a new calculation. Authenticity can no longer be ignored, even in shows built on spectacle. Cast members watch closely too. They see that saying no is possible, but not without consequences. They observe how fan pressure, social engagement, and contractual penalties interact. This knowledge changes behavior, even off camera. Negotiation becomes part of the strategy. Mental health, emotional labor, and personal limits are no longer invisible. Boundaries become currency, and networks must weigh them against ratings. Future seasons will reflect this tension. Producers may approach storytelling differently, testing how far they can push without triggering public backlash. They will balance drama with the risk of defiance. Certain storylines might be rewritten before filming even starts, and cast guidance could evolve to avoid repeat crises. The lessons are subtle but significant. Unpredictability affects not just a single season, but the structure of the show itself. At the same time, audiences have learned to read between the lines. They recognize staged conflict, coached moments, and emotional manipulation. This savvy changes the dynamic. Networks cannot rely solely on shock value. Authenticity now competes with spectacle. Every choice is scrutinized, every edit second-guessed, and every cast member empowered to push back, and the next domino is already in motion. Because the combination of fan pressure and visible consequences is signaling to other cast members that the rules are shifting, and the ripple could touch multiple seasons, the story is no longer contained within one episode. It extends forward, influencing how shows are made, how stars negotiate, and how audiences interpret everything that unfolds on screen. The shock from the opening moment now comes into sharper focus. What felt like sudden defiance was actually the result of weeks of pressure, negotiation, and emotional weighing. The boundary set was not chaos, it was a statement. The cast member took control where cameras, contracts, and schedules tried to dictate behavior. That clarity rewires how we view the story, turning the initial shock into respect for the choice itself. Family and partners also emerge with their own arcs resolved. The tension between loyalty and obligation did not disappear, but the lines are clearer now. Choices made under stress have consequences, yes, but they also reveal character under pressure. Fans who cheered now see the stakes. Those who question the move can understand the context. The narrative loop closes in a way that honors both the courage and the reality of the situation. Production patterns and network leverage, previously looming as invisible threats, now have transparency. The public has seen how decisions unfold behind the camera, and the emotional cost of defiance has been weighed in full view. Lessons about power, control, and emotional labor have landed. The earlier fear, confusion, and suspense give way to insight. Growth is evident, even if it came at financial, professional, or relational cost, and the fallout is far from over. Because legal battles, network recalibrations, and audience pressure are all lining up for the next chapter, hinting at new tensions no one has fully processed yet. The story closes some loops while planting the seeds for the next wave. The opening shock now has a narrative weight behind it. What seemed like impulsive defiance reveals a measured, high-stakes choice. Viewers leave understanding the cost, the courage, and the complexity, while remaining curious about how the ripples will play out in the coming episodes. This balance of payoff and lingering tension ensures the saga is far from finished. As things stand now, the situation is tense but stable. The cast member has asserted boundaries, the network has responded with fines and recalibrations, and fans are actively shaping the conversation online. What aired on screen tells only part of the story. Behind the scenes, contractual negotiations, emotional fallout, and strategic planning are ongoing, and every move has consequences for future filming. The stakes remain high. Relationships within the cast and family are under strain, schedules are being rethought, and networks are testing how far they can push without triggering another public backlash. Even small decisions from editing choices to storyline focus are now influenced by this moment. What seemed like a single shock has expanded into a ripple affecting every corner of the show. Viewers are left with a mix of clarity and suspense. They've seen defiance meet consequence, fans weigh in on fairness, and networks balance spectacle against authenticity. The story feels resolved in the short term, but long-term implications are unfolding in real time. Each choice made now sets the tone for the next season, and for how other cast members might act when faced with similar pressures. And the next twist is already forming, because these dynamics are far from settled, and the choices made in this high-pressure moment will influence the next explosive chapter of 90 Day Fiancé in ways fans are just beginning to anticipate. The current chapter closes some immediate drama while pointing forward. The audience has context, insight, and curiosity. They're emotionally invested, ready for the next revelation. The narrative bridge is set. What comes next promises to be just as intense, just as unpredictable, and entirely worth watching.